Hello, I Dr. Vijay Chandra Jadala welcomes you to VC Tech Education. Today I am going to discuss regarding functions as part of the Python programming. Python functions. A function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single related action. Functions provide better modularity for your application and a high degree of code reusing. That means by using functions we can reuse the code, and a function is a block of organized reusable code that is performed as a single or related action. As Python gives you many built-in functions like print, etc., you can also create your own functions. These functions are called user-defined functions. Today we are going to discuss regarding defining a function, calling a function, types of functions, function arguments, anonymous functions, global and local variables. Defining a function. A function is a group of statements that exist within a program for the purpose of performing a specific task. So, to complete a particular task, a group of statements are clubbed as a block, and this block can be reusable as per the requirement. That is considered as a function. A function is a group of statements that exist within a program for the purpose of performing a specific task. Next comes to defining and calling a function. To create a function, you write its definition. Here is the general format of a function definition in Python. The general format is shown here. So to create a function, we have to write its definition. That is, the syntax is def, function name, then statements. So a block of statements will be considered as a function if you define the function and for the sake of calling the particular function. So the syntax is given as shown. The first line is known as the function header. It marks the beginning of the function definition. So the first line is considered as the function header. Next, the function header begins with the keyword known as def. So the function header will begin with a keyword which is known as def. That is, you are going to define. You can define a function to provide the required functionality. Here, as an example, we can take some block given here, that is def message, then print I am Arthur, print King of Britons. So here the message will be printed and the message will contain these two particular statements. Wherever you use this particular message, that two statements will be executed. So the function header begins with the keyword def, followed by the name of the function, followed by a set of parentheses, followed by a colon. So def message is the function name, open and open parenthesis, close parenthesis, then colon, open bracket, not open and close, then colon. Then beginning at the next line is a set of statements which is also called as the block. Here in this example, two statements, print statements, comes under a particular block. A block is simply a set of statements that belong together as a group. Function blocks begin with a keyword def, followed by the function name and parenthesis and colon. Any input parameters or arguments should be placed within these parentheses. You can also define parentheses inside in these parentheses. The first statement of the function can be an option statement, the documentation string of the function, or DOC string. The code block within each function starts with the colon and is identified, and it is intended. The statement return expression exists a function, optionally passing back an expression to the caller. A return statement with no arguments is the same as the return none. So the code defines a function named message. The message function contains a block with two statements. Executing the function will cause these statements to execute. Next, calling a function. Defining a function only gives it a name, specifies the parameter that can be included in the function, and structures the block of code. Once the basic structure of the function is finalized, you can execute it by calling it from other function or directly from the Python prompt. So here the function definition specifies what a function does, but it does not cause the function to execute. To execute a function, you must call it. When a function is called, the interpreter jumps to the function and executes the statements in that block. When the end of the block is reached, the interpreter jumps back to the part of the program that called the function. So example, def message colon print I am student, print I am learning Python programming language. Message again calls the message function. The output will be I am a student, I am learning Python programming language. So here we discussed regarding the calling a function. Defining a function also gives its name, specifies the parameters that are to be included in the function, and structures the block of code. Once the basic structure of a function is finalized, you can execute it by calling it from another function or directly from the Python prompt. Following is the example here shown above. The example, when you see in this particular example, it is easy that a function is defined, then a block is defined, and then function is called. Types of functions. Functions are broadly classified into two types. One is built-in functions, another is user-defined functions. The functions that are built in by the Python, so it's called as built-in functions, which already exist, that are considered as the built-in functions. Whereas when a user is defining a particular function, the function defined by the user is known as the user-defined function. So functions are broadly classified into two. One is the built-in function, another is the user-defined function. So when we are going to discuss regarding types of functions, functions are broadly classified into two. One is built-in function, another is the user-defined function. Next comes to the Python built-in functions. The Python interpreter The Python interpreter has a number of functions that are always available for use. These functions are called built-in functions. For example, print function that prints the given object to the standard output device, that is screen or the text stream file. Next comes to the user defined function. That means user is going to define that particular function. The functions that we define ourselves to do certain specific tasks and referred as user defined functions. Functions that readily come with Python are called built-in functions. If we use functions written by others in the form of library, it can be termed as library functions. All other functions that we write on our own fall under user-defined functions. So, our user-defined functions could be a library function to someone else. Advantages of user-defined functions. User-defined function helps to decompose a large program into small segments, which makes program easy to understand, maintain and debug. If repeated code occurs in a program, function can be used to include those codes and execute when needed by calling the function. Next, programmers working on large projects can divide the workload by making different functions. Fruitful function, void function. Fruitful function, a function that returns a value, is considered as a fruitful function. All built-in functions, math functions produce results. So this comes under the fruitful function. Calling the function generates a value which we usually assign to a variable to use as part of an expression. This is considered as the fruitful function. This fruitful function is generally asked in interview question, since if you ask, this is the available in only Python. So generally if you ask what is fruitful function, it will be a little puzzle to the who is attending the interview. So generally this is an interview question. What do you mean by a fruitful function? So a fruitful function is a function that returns a value. All inbuilt functions, mathematical functions gives results. So they are the fruitful functions. Calling the function generate a value which we usually assign a variable or use as a part of an expression comes under the fruitful function. Examples two are the given. One is def area radius, to find the area of a radius, where this is a fruitful function where it is using a calculation with pi into radius square, r into r. Okay, based on the radius you are going to find the area of a circle. Then absolute value, it is also a fruitful function. Next comes to the void function. A function that does not return a value is called as a void function. A function that does not return a value, that is considered as a void function. Void function might display something on screen or have some other effect, but it does not have a return value, though, so that is considered as a void function. Example is given here. Next segment is about the function arguments. We can call the function by using the following types of formal arguments. Those are required arguments, key arguments, default arguments, variable length arguments. So the function arguments Then comes to the first one, which is called as the required argument. A required arguments or the arguments passed to a function in correct positional order. Here, the number of arguments in the function call should match exactly within the function definition. Here, the function definition should be matched with the function call. Then this considered as the required arguments, where the arguments are passed to the function in a correct positional order. Example, def print me str colon printed in double quotes hello plus str print me students. To call the function print me, you definitely need to pass one argument, otherwise it would give a syntax error. So minimum you have to pass one particular, any one, at least one argument. So this is about the function required arguments. Next comes to the key arguments. Key arguments are related to the function calls. When you use a key argument in a function call, the caller identifies the argument by the parameter name. This allows you to skip arguments or place them out of order because the Python interpreter is available to use the keywords provided to match the values with the parameter. So here example is given where diff print me message name comma message equal to good evening, print hello plus name. Okay, that name plus message, then print name equal to students, message equal to good morning. So this is all about the keyword arguments. Next comes to the default arguments. Default arguments are the arguments where an argument that assumes a default value if the value is not provided in the function call for that particular argument. Here, a default argument is an argument that assumes a default value if a value is not provided in the function call for that argument. Here, there is an example given here where you can get an idea regarding the default argument. Next comes to the variable length arguments. You may need to process a function for more arguments than you specified while defining the function. These arguments are called variable length arguments and are not named in the function definition, unlike required default arguments. So here def great for name in names, then print hello name greet. So this is all about the default arguments. Next, in the practical session, we are going to do some practical programs. Then these concepts will be very clear to you. Next comes to the recursion. So we are going to discuss regarding the recursion. And recursion is a recursive function makes the code to look clean and elegant. The complex tasks can be broken down into simpler subproblems using recursion. Sequence generation is easier with recursion than using some nested iteration. The disadvantages is logic behind recursion is very hard to follow. Recursive calls and are expensive, that is inefficient as they took up a lot of memory and time. Recursive functions are hard to debug. So this is about the recursion. Then comes to the anonymous functions. A function is which does not contain any name known as lambda function or anonymous function. So we are going to discuss regarding anonymous functions. A function which does not contain any name is known as lambda function or anonymous function. Syntax: lambda arguments, that is an expression. Lambda function we can assign to the variable and we can call the function through that particular variable. Syntax: assign value equal to lambda argument colon action x equal to lambda y colon y into 2, that is y square. So here the lambda value, my fun p value equal to 10, that means print p, that means actually x into x, so 10 into 10, the output will be 100. Def examples, two more examples are given here. Definition. So another example is given here. Definition: x of y equal to y into 2, return y. X of 4 into 2 is 8, output will be the 8. Next is x equal to lambda y colon y into 2, print x of 4 into 2 equal to 8. Next comes to the filters. The filter function in the Python takes a function and a list as arguments. It filters out all the elements of the sequence, that is sequence for which the function returns true. So here example is given. My list is 1, 5, 4, 6, 8, 11, 12, 3, 12. Whereas new list equal to list of filter lambda x of x percentage 2 equal to 0, that is modulus of x equal to 0, then my list. So modulus of x equal to 0 means modulus of x modulus of 2 equal to 0 means the remainder. When we divide the x value with the 2, the remainder should be 0. That means all even numbers remainder will be 0. Odd numbers remainder will be 1. So we are segregating or separating the even numbers. So 1 divided by 2, remainder will be 1. 5 divided by 2, the remainder will be 1. If we divide the 4 with the 2, then the remainder will be 0. So the 4 will be in the new list. And next come to 6. 6 divided by 2, then the remainder will give 0. So 6 will be in the new list. Next comes to 8. 8 divided by 2, then the value of 8 will be 0. The remainder of 8 will be 0. Next 11 divided by 2, remainder will be 1, so it will not be in the new list. 3 divided by 2, remainder will be 1, so it will not be in the new list. And 12 divided by 2, the remainder will be 0, so it will be the new list. Openly, all the even numbers will be in the new list. This is about the filter. Next, filter function. Next comes to the map function. The map function is in Python, takes in a function and a list as argument. The function is called with the lambda function, and a new list is returned which contains all the lambda modified items returned by that function for each item. My list I am giving 1, 5, 4, 6, 8, 11, 13, 12. 3, 12. New list, new underscore list equal to map of lambda x colon x into x comma my list. New print new underscore list. Then comes to the output, that is 1, then 5 square equal to 1 square equal to 1, 5 square equal to 25, 4 square equal to 16, 8 square equal to 30, 6 square equal to 36, 8 square equal to 64, 11 square equal to 121, 3 square equal to 9, 12 square equal to 144. So here we are mapping with the new list with the square of the my list. So here some more examples are given. X equal to -2, -1, 1, 2. Filter x is less than 0. So less than 0 are the negative numbers. All negative numbers comes under the z. Z equal to filter lambda y colon z less than 0 comma x. So in the x list, what are the terms or the components less than 0, they are considered with the z value. The less than 0 components are -2 and -1. So all the negative numbers in the given list of x is considered as the list of z. Next comes to the first equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, n equal to 0, I for I in first of n equal to I into 2, n plus equal to 1, that is the first. So the first value will be among 1, 2, 3, 4, the output will be I into 2. So you are going to multiply the first list with the 2. So 1 into 2 equal to 2, 2 into 2 equal to 4, 3 into 2 equal to 6, 4 into 2 equal to 8. Next, with the same, we are going to consider the values with mapping. There you use the for loop function. For loop, instead of that I am using the map, then also we are going to get the same value. So instead of using the looping structure, we are using the map here in the Python. Next comes to the reduce function. Reduce function in Python takes the function and a list as argument. The function is called with a lambda function and a list, and a new reduced result is returned. This performs a repetitive operation over the pair of the lists. This is a part of functional module. Func tools module. So here from func tool module import reduce li 5, 8, 10, 20, 50, 10 sum equal to reduce of lambda x y colon x plus y comma li, then sum. So you are going to get the sum. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, a into b, then x. So 1 into 2, it's 2, 2 into 3, 6, 6, 4, 6 into 4, 6 4 is 24. So output is 24. We are multiplying it to the nearest neighbor. 1 into 2 equal to 2, 2 into 3 equal to 6, 6 into 4 equal to 24. Next comes to the global variables. A global variable is accessible to all the functions in a program file. When a variable is created by an assignment statement that is written outside all the functions in a program file, the variables is global. My underscore value equal to 10, def show underscore value, then print my value, show value. So the value will be shown, that is the output will be 10. Global variables, local variables, already in C programming also you had. So global variables are defined at the starting and can be used in any functions, not an individual function. Any set of function we can use the global variable, whereas in local variable we have to use at that particular function only. A global variable is accessible to all the functions in a program file. When a variable is created by an assignment statement, this is written outside all the functions, and in a program the variable is called as the global. So before all the functions outside the global variable declaration will be done. Example is shown here. In order to modify the global variables data within a function, we should use global declaration within the function, that is a equal to 1000, b equal to 2000, def f of global a, global b, print a, print b, a equal to 3. So that means a set. One function, second function, two functions are there. So the output will be, let's see the output, the first global a, whatever the value of a is 1000, b is 2000, then print a. So the values will be printed. Again here def of 2, the values will become 3000 and 4000. So the output will be 1000, 2000, 3000 and 4000. After global variables, the next is the local variables. The local variable is created inside a function and cannot be accessed by statement that are outside the function. Different functions can have local variables with the same names because the function cannot see either other local variables. So here within a particular function you can give the variables, and that same variable names can be used in another function. That is about the local variables. Why? Because the local variables are limited to that particular function. The other function cannot see what are the variables in this particular function. So every function has the different variables or the same variables, but it is related to that particular function only. Okay, by this local and global variables topic, we are going to conclude it. Before going to that, once again I am going to discuss regarding the scope of variables, that is global and local variables. All variables in a program may not be accessible to all locations in that particular program. They depends on where you are declaring a variable. The scope of a variable defines or determines the portion of the program where you can access a particular identifier. There are two basic scopes of a program variable, that is global and local variable. So today what we discussed is about the functions, that is function definition, that is defining a function, calling a function, the different types of functions, function arguments, anonymous functions, and finally we discussed about the local and global variable. When we interrelate or differentiate between global and local variables, the variables that are defined inside a function body are known as local scope or local variables, and those defined outside the functions is considered as the global or global scope. This means that local variables can be accessed only inside the function in which they are declared, whereas global variables can be accessed throughout the program body by all functions when you call the function. The variables declared inside are considered as the local variables. The variables which are declared or initiated outside are called as the global variable. Hope by this I am concluding today's session. Hope you all understood well. Thank you. Thank you very much.